I tell you today, money is not far off. It is waiting at your very door. By your word you can command it, and by your doubt you can shut it out. Many of you have begged, worried, and feared, yet the stream has not opened. But I speak the truth. Command the universe now, and money shall flow before Sunday. In this teaching, you will learn how to command the universe with your words, so that money comes to you swiftly, in right ways, before Sunday. You will see why your begging has failed, and why fear has kept your purse shut. You will learn the difference between idle words that bind you and living words that free you. And when you speak as I instruct, you will prove for yourself that God is your supply, and no man can keep you from it. I know many of you have spoken affirmations and seen no change. You have prayed, yet your bills remain. You have hoped, yet Sunday comes and goes with no miracle. You wonder, why do these laws work for others, but not for me? Hear me. It is not because the law fails. It is because you have not spoken with authority. You have asked as beggars, when the law answers only to kings. And today I will show you how to speak as one with dominion, so that money hastens to you. In the next 2 hours, I will open to you the laws of wealth as I have lived and taught them. I will show you stories of those who blessed their last dollar and saw checks arrive in 3 days. I will teach you the exact words to command money to flow before Sunday. I will expose the hidden traps of fear and doubt, and I will give you the true affirmations that break them. And before we are done, I will place in your hand the key that unlocks the floodgates of supply. Stay with me, for even one sentence, spoken in faith, can change your affairs before the week is out. Here's something most people completely miss. Your life today is not ruled by the economy, not by your boss, not even by your bank account. Your life is ruled by your own tongue. I say it again, so it strikes deep into your soul. Your life is ruled by your own words. The Bible declares, death and life are in the power of the tongue. That means every sentence you speak is either sowing life into your path or sowing death into your path. You can't escape it. Your words are seeds, and the harvest is always certain. Now I know some of you will say, but Florence, I didn't mean it. I was only joking. I was only talking. Listen closely. The subconscious has no sense of humor. It records every syllable like a phonograph, and then it plays it back into your affairs. A careless joke becomes a condition. A phrase of despair becomes a reality. One woman told me again and again, I am sick and tired of this house. I wish I lived in a trunk. She laughed when she said it, her friends laughed with her, and yet in time she found herself living in a trunk. She had spoken her own dwelling into form. You may think words are light, but I tell you, they are weightier than gold and heavier than stone, for words are spirit, and spirit creates. Do you see the stakes now? If you have spoken poverty, you have chained yourself to lack. If you have spoken fear, you have sown fear into your path. If you have spoken defeat, you have built your own prison walls. But here is the glorious truth. If you have spoken life, you shall reap life. If you have spoken riches, you shall reap riches. If you have spoken health, you shall reap health. Whatever your tongue plants, your future must harvest. There is no escape from the law, but that is your deliverance, for if words created your bondage, words can also create your freedom. I remember another case. A woman who had more money than she could ever spend kept joking, I'm just getting ready for the poorhouse. She thought it was clever to say. Thought it was light-hearted. Yet her subconscious heard only the word poorhouse. And in due season her wealth drained away and she faced destitution. Why? Because she sowed lack with her lips until her world mirrored it back. Beloved, do not think you are immune. Every careless word is a seed. Every idle phrase takes root. This is why Jesus said, by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. Now lean in close, for this may change everything for you. If you want money to flow before Sunday, you must first close the gate of idle speech. Stop saying, I can't afford it. Stop saying, money is hard to come by. Stop saying, every time I get ahead, something breaks. Do you see? Those phrases are not harmless. They are commands to your subconscious, and the subconscious obeys without question. It does not argue. It does not reason. It only produces. If you want a new harvest, you must plant a new seed. You must begin to guard your tongue as you would guard a treasure chest filled with gold. So here is what I command you to do, starting tonight. Listen to yourself. Notice every phrase that crosses your lips. When you hear yourself say something against your own good, stop at once and correct it. If you say, I can't pay this bill, cancel it and speak instead. God is my unfailing supply, and this bill is paid in full under grace. If you say, I am afraid money won't come, cancel it and speak, money flows to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. This is not pretending, this is law. Your spoken word must come to pass. Think of your tongue as the rudder of a great ship. No matter how fierce the storm, no matter how vast the sea, that small rudder determines where the ship goes. Your life is the ship. Your tongue is the rudder. If you speak toward poverty, the ship sails toward poverty. If you speak toward abundance, the ship sails toward abundance. The question is not whether you are commanding, you are always commanding. The question is, what direction are you commanding? So let me ask you, what have you been saying this week? What phrases have you spoken over your money, your work, your future? Did you speak life or death? Did you speak lack or riches? Did you speak fear or faith? The tongue never rests, it is always creating. And what you see in your affairs today is only the harvest of what your lips sowed yesterday. If you want a new harvest by Sunday, you must sow a new word tonight. That is why I tell you, begin now to declare, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and I choose life. Money flows to me before Sunday. God is my supply, and his supply is endless. Let these words replace every idle phrase. Let these words engrave a new record in your subconscious. And soon you will meet them in your outer world, just as surely as the woman who spoke of her trunk met her trunk, just as surely as the woman who joked of the poorhouse met the poorhouse. But you will meet riches, not lack. You will meet freedom, not bondage. You will meet the overflowing supply that belongs to you by divine right. What I am about to tell you may sound simple, but it holds the key to turning lack into plenty, sickness into health, sorrow into joy. Your word is not a small thing. It is not a passing breath. It is not a fleeting sound in the air. Your word is your wand, and when you wave it with faith, it transmutes your entire world. A wand is an instrument of power, a rod in the hand of one who knows the law, and it is not given to strike others but to call forth hidden treasure, to command the unseen to take shape, to turn the wilderness into a garden. When I speak of the wand, I do not speak of fairy tales, I speak of divine law. Your word is your wand because it contains within it the vibration that shapes matter, and matter must obey the vibration of spirit. I have seen this truth proved again and again. A woman once came to me with only $2 left in the world. Her face showed strain, her heart was heavy, her purse was almost empty. She feared poverty was about to swallow her. I said to her, "We bless the $2. We do not curse the little, we magnify it." And then I spoke over it the affirmation that has opened many a door. You have the magic purse of the Spirit. It can never be depleted. As money goes out, money comes in, under grace, in perfect ways. I see it crammed, jammed, bulging with money, yellow bills, green bills, pink checks, blue checks, silver and gold. Always full, never empty. She listened with eyes wide, and she said, I feel it. I feel my bag heavy with money. She had nothing but $2, yet she gave me one as a love offering. She sowed into the vision of plenty, she acted her faith, and soon after she received a gift of $6,000. $2 became $6,000 by the waving of the wand of the word. Was this chance? No, beloved, this is law. Do you see what happened? She did not beg, she did not plead, she did not look to men for help. She lifted her word like a wand and changed her picture. You must learn to do the same. When you say crammed, jammed, bulging with money, the subconscious cannot help but picture it. It cannot help but obey it. That is why I teach you to use strong, colorful words that make the picture vivid. The imagination is the scissors of the mind. It is always cutting out the patterns, and your words are the patterns it cuts. When you say, I'm broke, the imagination sees emptiness. When you say, I am an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to me by divine right, the imagination sees streams of gold rushing in. The law cannot fail. The only question is, which picture are you cutting? Which wand are you waving? I tell you plainly, the universe does not respond to whining. It does not answer to sighs and groans. It answers to command, to decree, to the spoken word charged with faith. The wand of your word is not meant to describe your misery. It is meant to call forth your destiny. Stop rehearsing your troubles. Stop repeating your lack. Every time you say, I never get ahead, you wave your wand against yourself. Every time you say, I always lose money, you bind yourself to loss. But the moment you change the declaration, the moment you pick up the wand and declare, I always have more than enough. Money comes to me quickly and easily, under grace, in perfect ways. You change the record in your subconscious, and the picture begins to shift. So let me ask you, what wand have you been waving this week? Have you been waving the wand of lack or the wand of abundance? Have you been waving the wand of fear or the wand of faith? The wand is always in your hand, for the word is always in your mouth. The difference between poverty and plenty, between bondage and freedom, between fear and joy, is the way you swing that wand. You cannot keep speaking darkness and expect light to come. You cannot keep calling for emptiness and expect fullness to arrive. You must call for the thing you desire, and you must call it with faith. Beloved, hear me clearly. Your word is your wand, and if you will take this wand and speak boldly, the universe must obey. Say now, I bless the money in my hand. I see it increase. I see it bulging, flowing, multiplying. My purse is never empty. My supply is endless. My needs are met before Sunday. Do not say it timidly. Do not whisper it with doubt. Say it with power, as if the heavens are listening because they are. And as you decree, so shall it be. Here is the great mistake that has bound multitudes in chains of lack and delay. They approach the universe as beggars instead of commanders. They plead, they whine, they ask with trembling voices, please God, give me something. Please, universe, help me. But listen to me, the law does not bow to begging. The law does not answer to fear. The law does not move for one who supplicates in weakness. The law moves when you speak with authority. The law obeys the voice of command. The scriptures declare in Isaiah, concerning the works of my hands, command ye me. Do you hear the force of those words? Not, ask timidly, not, plead sorrowfully, but command. Command with the authority of a son or daughter who knows the Father's house is already theirs. Command with the certainty of one who knows the throne belongs to them. Command with the boldness of one who knows the supply is already prepared and only awaits the word that releases it. Let me show you how this works, for the law proves itself in stories. A woman once came to me in great distress. She was about to be sued for $3,000. She had no way, in her sight, of getting the money. Her mind was frantic, her heart fearful, her lips ready to confess defeat. I told her plainly, God is your supply, and there is a supply for every demand. And then I spoke the word. I give thanks that she receives $3,000 at the right time, in the right way. Notice, I did not say, oh please Lord, maybe somehow, if it be thy will. No, I commanded. I gave thanks. I spoke with authority. The day came, the 15th of the month, and still no money had appeared. She trembled. She wanted to give up. She wanted to cry. But I reminded her, God is never too late. Act rich. Order an expensive luncheon. Show your faith with your actions. That night, her cousin, with the long white beard, appeared at her door. He asked casually about her finances. He said, I will give you $3,000 at the first of the month. She fretted, but I need it tomorrow. Yet the very next morning, he called and said, come to my office. I will give you the money today. She walked to the bank and placed $3,000 in her account before the deadline expired. That is not begging, that is commanding, and commanding brought forth the miracle. Do you see the difference? Begging is fear disguised as prayer. Commanding is faith clothed in authority. When you beg, you confess you do not believe. When you command, you prove you know the law cannot fail. When you beg, you put the power outside yourself, hoping some force may pity you. When you command, you place yourself inside the power, declaring it must obey. The difference between begging and commanding is the difference between famine and feast, between poverty and plenty, between despair and demonstration. I tell you again, stop begging. Stop saying, please, maybe someday. Stop lowering your voice as if you are not worthy. You are not a beggar at the gate. You are a child of the King, and the King says, all that I have is thine. Your supply is not withheld. It waits on your decree. So pick up the scepter of your word and rule your world. Speak aloud. I command the universe to release my wealth before Sunday. I command every channel to open. I command every gate to lift. I command money to flow under grace, in perfect ways, swiftly, easily, and without strain. Say it not with fear, but with power, for the law recognizes only authority. Beloved, understand this. The universe is a perfect servant, not a master. It does not think, it does not reason, it does not weigh, it only obeys. If you say, I am poor, it says yes. If you say, I am rich, it says yes. If you say, I cannot pay this bill, it says yes. If you say, this bill is paid in full under grace, it says yes. It mirrors your decree without question. That is why begging fails, because begging says, I do not have, I cannot have, I hope I may someday have. And the universe answers, yes, you do not have. But command says, it is mine. It comes now. I claim it by divine right. And the universe answers, yes, it is yours. It comes now. It is done. So let me put this question to you. How have you been speaking to your money? Have you been pleading with it to stay, weeping as it leaves, fearing it will not return? Or have you been commanding it as a servant, ordering it to multiply, instructing it to appear on time, directing it to come from the four winds? Your money is a servant. Your word is the command. If you speak like a master, it obeys. If you speak like a beggar, it runs away. Therefore I charge you, stand tall, lift your head, and decree with me now. Concerning the works of his hands, I command. Money flows to me before Sunday. Supply appears now. My word is law, and the law cannot fail. Here is something most people never realize until it is too late. The subconscious mind is like a phonograph, always recording, never missing a sound, never forgetting a phrase, never losing a word. It does not ask if the tune is pleasant. It does not decide if the song is useful. It does not edit or question. It records every vibration, every syllable, every declaration. And then, just as faithfully, it plays it back into your affairs. That is why some of you live today inside the echo of words you spoke years ago. You are walking in the record grooves you cut with your own tongue. You think life is happening to you, but life is only playing back the record you pressed with your words. I tell you, beloved, this is why you must break the old records if you would see new demonstrations. If you do not, you will live again and again the same sorrows, the same lacks, the same delays, because the subconscious has no sense of humor and no sense of time. It will play back your careless joke from 10 years ago as if you just spoke it this morning. You may have said, I'm always broke. And though you said it in passing, though you laughed as you said it, the subconscious carved the groove. Now, every time a new supply is about to appear, the needle falls into that old groove and plays the same tired tune. I'm always broke. The money slips away. The opportunity closes. The door shuts. Not because God denied you, not because fate opposed you, but because your own tongue set the record. Think of it this way. A singer stands before a phonograph with a blank disc. He sings, and every tone, every cough, every stumble, every pause is etched into the surface. Later, when the record is played, nothing can be added. Nothing can be subtracted. The disc plays back exactly what was imprinted upon it. So, it is with your life. You are the singer, your words are the song, and your subconscious is the disc. If you want to change the music, you cannot beg the phonograph. You cannot plead with the disc. You must record a new song. You must smash the old record and cut a new one. That is why I give you this decree. I now smash and demolish every untrue record in my subconscious mind. They return to the dust heap of their native nothingness, for they came from my own vain imaginings. I now make my perfect records through the Christ within records of health, wealth, love, and perfect self-expression. When you say this with power, you are not speaking poetry. You are commanding the subconscious to break the groove, to shatter the disc, to destroy the false picture. And once the false record is broken, the new record can play. I have seen people imprisoned for years by the records of their own speech. A man will say over and over, nothing ever works out for me, and so nothing works out. A woman will declare, I never keep friends, and so friends come and go like shadows. Another will sigh, every time I get ahead, something happens, and so the moment they rise, calamity appears to fulfill the groove. But I have also seen the glorious transformation when they break the record. When they lift their voice and say, every wrong record is smashed, every old groove is broken, I now sing a new song of supply, of joy, of love. The change comes quickly. for the subconscious is always obedient. It only plays what is given. If you do not like the song, give it a new one. So let me ask you, what records are still playing in your life? Can you hear the scratchy old tune of fear in your finances? Can you hear the broken refrain of lack in your daily speech? Can you hear the weary chorus of sickness in your body? If you hear them, do not despair, rejoice, for now you know you can smash them. The word that created the false record can also destroy it, and the word spoken in truth can create the new. That is why I say with all certainty, you are never bound forever. You are only bound until you speak the word that smashes the chain. Do not delay another moment. Speak aloud. Even now, I break every record of poverty, of fear, of sickness, of delay. I erase them, I smash them, I replace them with the living record of abundance, of joy, of strength, of perfect supply. Say it until you feel it. Say it until your very bones vibrate with the new song. Say it until the old tune fades and the new melody fills your mind. Then watch how swiftly life will begin to dance to your new record. For life has no choice. The subconscious only obeys. The word only creates. The record only plays. And when the song is health, wealth, love, and self-expression, the harvest will be exactly that. Now that you see how words create, how the tongue directs, and how the old records must be broken, you are ready for the formulas of power. These are not idle phrases, not hopeful mutterings, not timid whispers into the air. These are living decrees, forged in the fire of faith, charged with divine authority, and released into the unseen where they shape substance and call it into form. I have given these formulas to many, and I have seen the results with my own eyes. Bills paid without struggle, debts dissolved, sudden checks arriving, doors opening where no door had been, gifts flowing from unexpected channels. The law does not fail, it waits on the word, and when the word is spoken with conviction, the law must fulfill it. So hear me now. If you desire money to flow before Sunday, you must speak as one who already has it. You must command as if the supply were already in your hand, for in truth it island. You must take these affirmations upon your lips and speak them aloud with the force of certainty, not once, not twice, but as often as the thought of lack tries to intrude. When fear whispers, answer with a decree. When doubt rises, strike it down with a declaration. When the old record begins to play, drown it with the new song of abundance. Here is one formula. I am an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to me by divine right. Money, opportunities, and supply hasten to me from the four corners of the earth. They cannot be withheld, for they are mine by law. Say it slowly, let every word strike your subconscious like a hammer upon stone. Do not rush, for these words are not empty. They are commands, and the universe hears them. Here is another. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. This is not fantasy, this is law. Large sums, not trickles. Quickly, not someday. Under grace, not through strain or injustice. In perfect ways, not through trouble or loss. This affirmation has multiplied purses, paid off debts, opened streams of income, and brought unexpected gifts. Repeat it until you feel the vibration of money flowing, until you see it in your mind as already here. Another. Every bill I hold in my hand is paid in full, under grace, in perfect ways. I bless it, and I see it dissolved into nothingness, for God is my unfailing supply. Many fear their bills, they curse them, they resent them, and in doing so, they bind themselves to more bills. But when you bless a bill, when you declare it paid, you cut the groove of provision, and soon provision appears. And still another. I see money pouring in from all directions. I see my purse crammed, jammed, bulging with supply. I see checks arriving, I see doors opening, I see channels freed. I give thanks now for the avalanche of abundance. Do you hear the color of those words? Do you feel how they paint a picture in the mind? That is why they work. The subconscious responds to pictures, and words create pictures. So choose words that flash, that throb, that blaze. Say crammed, jammed, bulging, and you cannot help but see it. Say avalanche of abundance, and you cannot help but feel it. The imagination sees, the subconscious records, and life obeys. Beloved, let us not make this complicated. It is not your work to figure out the channel. It is not your work to see the way. It is only your work to speak the decree. The law arranges the rest. Your supply may come from an old friend, as it did for the woman with only $8. It may come from a cousin at the last hour, as it did for the woman facing a lawsuit. It may come from a business deal, a gift, a forgotten account, an opportunity you never dreamed of. Do not limit God with your reasoning. Simply speak the word and let the infinite arrange the channel. Now, I give you a direct challenge. Take one of these formulas and speak it morning, noon, and night until Sunday. Do not beg, do not plead, do not question. Declare it with power. Act as if it is already done. And when you see money flow, when you see provision arrive, you will know that the word is law and that God's supply cannot fail. So let us seal this moment with a decree together. Speak it with me now. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. I see myself supplied before Sunday. God is my unfailing source, and my purse is never empty. Let these words be your song until the demonstration appears, and it will. For the word has gone forth, and it shall not return void. Here is a truth you must write upon your heart. Fear and faith are the same power flowing in opposite directions. Faith is the unwavering assurance that only good can come. Fear is the twisted assurance that evil must arrive. Both are creative forces, both plant seeds in the subconscious, both bring harvests according to their kind. And I tell you plainly, most people are creating far more by their fears than by their faith. They worry, they dread, they imagine calamity, and then they wonder why calamity shows up. They rehearse disaster in their minds, and then they meet disaster in their lives. They think they are merely being cautious, but in truth they are giving their faith to the very thing they do not want. I once knew a man who feared a rare disease. It was so rare that most physicians had never even seen it, yet this man read about it constantly, pictured it vividly, spoke of it as if it stalked him. His mind played the disease like a motion picture day after day, and in time his body manifested it. He died not because fate cursed him, but because his inverted faith fulfilled his command. His imagination was the scissors of his mind, cutting the pattern, and his fear was the ink that pressed it into his subconscious. That is how exact the law island. It has no mercy for ignorance, it has no exceptions for pity, it simply obeys the command of the strongest vibration, whether it be faith in good or faith in evil. Now let me show you the other side. I once worked with a woman who faced a lawsuit for $3,000, a sum she could not possibly pay in the natural. She trembled with fear. She saw only ruin. But I taught her to shift her fear into faith, to take the same energy she had been giving to dread and give it instead to expectancy. Together we spoke the word, giving thanks that her supply was already provided. She acted as if the money were already in hand. And though the hours ticked toward the deadline, the supply appeared in a most miraculous way, carried to her door by a relative at the very last moment. Do you see the difference? The first man rehearsed disease and reaped disease. The second woman rehearsed provision and reaped provision. Fear created a coffin, faith created deliverance. Both obeyed the same law. So I say to you now, if you want money to flow before Sunday, you must cast out fear as you would cast out a thief. Fear will creep in with whispers. What if it doesn't happen? What if the money doesn't come? What if you fail again? That is inverted faith, and if you give it lodging, it will build the very lack you dread. When fear comes, do not argue with it, do not reason with it. Answer it with a decree. Say, "Why are ye fearful, O ye of little faith?" I replace fear with faith. I replace dread with expectancy. I know my good comes swiftly, under grace, in perfect ways. Say it until your heart is steady, until your breath is calm, until your subconscious feels the weight of faith pressing deeper than the record of fear. Let me ask you this. Have you not seen in your own life that what you feared often came to pass? How many times have you dreaded a bill only to see it arrive? How many times have you feared a quarrel only to find it breaking out? How many times have you worried about losing only to watch loss manifest? That is not coincidence. That is law. Now imagine if you gave that same focus, that same emotion, that same intensity not to fear but to faith. Imagine if, instead of rehearsing what could go wrong, you rehearsed what must go right. Imagine if, instead of saying it never works out, you said, it always works out for me. Imagine if, instead of picturing empty hands, you pictured overflowing purses. What would you reap? You would reap abundance, and you would reap it quickly. Therefore, begin today to reverse your inner movie. Stop seeing lack. Stop picturing defeat. Stop rehearsing disaster. Put faith in the place of fear. Use your imagination as God intended to cut the pattern of your highest good. Say aloud with me now. I walk in faith, not fear. I see money flowing to me before Sunday. I see bills paid. I see doors opening. I see channels freed. Fear has no power, for faith has taken its place. And as you speak, so shall it be, for faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Faith is law, and fear is only law inverted. Choose faith, and the universe must obey. Here is a principle that has baffled many, and yet it is so plain once you see it. Faith must be acted, not merely spoken. You may say words with your lips, you may even shout them into the air, but if your actions contradict your declarations, you have canceled your decree. The universe listens not only to your mouth, but to your movement, not only to your affirmations, but to the way you carry yourself. Faith without works is dead, for works are simply the outward echo of the inward belief. If you command abundance, but then walk like a beggar, hoard pennies like a miser, and fear every bill that comes into your hand, you have acted poverty even while speaking wealth, and your actions have spoken louder than your words. But when you act rich, when you behave as if the supply is already at hand, when you move in confidence as though the harvest has already been gathered, you prove your faith to the law, and the law cannot deny you. I recall a woman who came to me in trembling despair. She was facing a lawsuit for $3,000, a sum she did not have. The 15th of the month drew near, and the shadow of defeat loomed over her. I spoke the word for her, declaring that her supply was already provided, yet the day came and still no money was in sight. Her fear rose, but I told her, act rich, order an expensive luncheon, do not show lack in your behavior, prove your faith by the way you carry yourself. It seemed foolish to her reasoning mind. Should she not save every penny? Should she not withdraw and hide? No, for that would be acting poverty, and to act poverty is to decree it. So she obeyed. She ordered the costly luncheon. She laughed. She carried herself as though the account were already full. That very evening, her cousin appeared, and within hours the $3,000 was in her hand. Do you see? The supply was not released until she acted as if she already had it. Her act of faith sealed the command. This is why I tell you, if you want money to flow before Sunday, you must not only speak as though it is yours, you must act as though it is yours. If you declare, large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways, but then you shrink from opportunity, you refuse to spend on what is right, you move as if the purse is empty, you contradict your own decree. But if you carry yourself with poise, if you walk into a room with confidence, if you treat your affairs as though provision is already present, then you have aligned your outer world with your inner word, and the universe hastens to fill the picture. Consider this. A farmer does not wait to see the harvest before he buys his tools. He acts as if the crop is sure. He digs, he plants, he waters, he prepares, though the field still looks barren. Why? Because his faith is not in appearances, but in the law of sowing and reaping. If he waited for proof before he acted, he would never harvest. So it is with you. If you wait to feel secure before you act secure, if you wait to have before you behave as though you have, you will wait forever. But when you act as if your abundance is already here, you set the law in motion, and the law rushes to fulfill the picture you have acted. Now, let me ask you, how are you acting this week? Are you walking with shoulders stooped as though burdened with lack? Are you counting every coin with dread, as though the purse is always ready to run dry? Are you refusing to prepare for the very supply you have commanded? Or are you stepping boldly, dressing with confidence, blessing the bills in your hand, and moving as if the universe has already delivered? Your actions are decrees. They speak as loud as your words. And if your actions and words agree, your demonstration is certain. So I challenge you now, before Sunday, do something that proves your faith. Prepare for the money you have commanded. Buy the small thing that represents your confidence. Clean the space where the supply will sit. Write the check as if the funds are already there. Dig your ditches before you see the rain. Act as if, and the law will make it so. Say with me, I act now as if my supply is certain. I move with confidence, I walk with poise, I live as one who is already provided for. And by my act of faith, the universe confirms my word. Do this, and you will not only speak riches, you will live them, and your Sunday will be filled with proof. Here is a mystery of the law that many stumble over, and yet it is as plain as the rising of the sun. When you truly believe, you prepare. Preparation is the unmistakable sign of expectancy. It is the outer proof that the inner decree has already been made and received. To speak without preparing is to confess that you do not yet believe. To affirm abundance while still arranging for lack is to cancel your own word. The scriptures are filled with this principle. When the 3 kings were in the desert with no water for their men or their horses, the prophet Elisha gave them this astonishing command. Ye shall not see wind, neither shall ye see rain. Yet make this valley full of ditches. What did he mean? He meant, prepare the channels before the supply appears. Dig the ditches while the sky is clear. Act as though the flood is certain, even though the ground is dry. And when they dug, the water flowed, for their preparation had proved their faith. I once knew a woman who needed an apartment in New York City at a time when people said it was nearly impossible. Every friend she had shook their heads and said, "You will not find it. There is a great shortage. You must store your furniture and live in a hotel." But she refused their reasoning. She knew that there was a divine design for her dwelling, and she declared, "Infinite Spirit, open the way for the right apartment." And then she began to prepare. She had thought of buying blankets for her new home, and a whisper of doubt came to her. Do not buy them, for you may never find the apartment. But she answered at once, no. I will dig my ditches by buying the blankets. I will prepare as if the apartment is already mine. And so she did. Soon after, an apartment appeared as if by miracle, and though more than 200 applicants wanted it, it was given to her. Why? Because she had proved her faith with preparation. This is what I tell you now. If you are commanding money to flow before Sunday, then prepare as though it has already arrived. Clear a place in your purse or your wallet, make ready a space in your bank account, write the list of what you will bless and pay when the supply comes. Do not speak as if the money is coming and then hide in fear, making no preparation for its arrival. That is double-mindedness, and the double-minded man receives nothing. But the one who prepares is saying, I know it is done. I expect it, I welcome it, I make space for it. And when you make space, the universe fills it. Think of it this way. No bride prepares her wedding feast after the bridegroom has already entered. She prepares it long before, because she knows the hour is sure. No farmer waits to see the rain before he plants his seed. He prepares the ground, he sets it in order, he makes the furrows ready, because he knows the law of harvest cannot fail. Yet many of you are like those who pray for rain and yet refuse to dig the ditches. You pray for abundance and yet make no room for it. You command money, but you act as if it will not come. You decree supply, but you continue planning only for lack, and then you wonder why nothing changes. Beloved, the law is exact. If you want abundance, prepare for abundance. If you want money by Sunday, make space for money today. So I ask you, what preparation will you make right now? Will you clean the place where the harvest will be stored? Will you open a new account to hold the increase? Will you buy the blankets for the apartment you have called? Will you make a purchase that proves you expect the purse to be full? Do not wait for the sign, for waiting is doubt. Prepare in advance, and your preparation will call the supply into form. Say with me, I now prepare for the riches I have commanded. I dig my ditches, I open my channels, I clear the way for supply. I expect money before Sunday, and my preparation proves my faith. The doors open, the channels free, the floodgates swing wide, and abundance flows in. Hold this decree, act upon it, and you will see the miracle. For preparation is faith in action, and faith in action cannot be denied. Now let us come to the crown of this law. For faith without joy is still incomplete, and expectancy without gladness is but half-hearted belief. The true seal of demonstration is joyful expectancy. To expect with heaviness, to anticipate with gloom, to hope with worry clinging to your heart is not faith but fear dressed in a thin disguise. Real faith laughs before the harvest is visible. Real faith claps its hands while the sky is still cloudless. Real faith sings the song of victory while the battlefield still looks bleak. The scriptures say, Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Not beg, not groan, not sigh delight. Delight is joy, delight is cheerfulness, delight is the radiant smile of one who knows the outcome is sure. I remember once comparing faith to a child on Christmas Eve. A child does not lie awake, dreading that his gift will not come, biting his nails and murmuring, "Perhaps there will be nothing for me." No, he goes to bed certain, bubbling with joy, his heart leaping with the thrill of expectancy. He knows in the morning there will be toys, and because he knows it, he sleeps soundly, he wakes laughing, he runs with shining eyes to receive what he already believed was his. This is the picture of true faith. If you want money to flow before Sunday, you must become like that child. You must go about your days as though the treasure is already on its way. You must laugh when appearances say otherwise. You must give thanks, even while your purse seems light. You must say, "I am delighted in my supply, for it is already mine." And that delight becomes the magnet that draws the gift into your hands. But most of you, I know, have done the opposite. You have prayed with frowns, you have affirmed with sighs, you have spoken decrees while secretly thinking, "What if it fails again?" That is not joyful expectancy, that is doubt wrapped in the clothes of faith. And the subconscious, ever faithful to reproduce the strongest vibration, records not the words of your lips but the mood of your heart. If you affirm riches but vibrate worry, you harvest worry. If you decree supply but vibrate fear, you reap fear. But when your affirmation is clothed in joy, when your decree is wrapped in thanksgiving, when your command is sung instead of sighed, then you have reached the true vibration of faith, and the law cannot fail to bring the good into view. I knew a man who read a simple sign one day that changed his whole life. The sign said, "Why worry? It will probably never happen." Those words struck him like a hammer on stone. They erased the habit of fear from his mind, and in its place grew a conviction that only good could come. From that day forward, he carried himself with lightness. He laughed instead of fretting, he blessed instead of cursing, he expected good instead of dreading evil. And in time, his life turned from one of constant strain into one of overflowing good. What happened? He shifted from fear to joyful expectancy, and the law answered. So I ask you plainly, how are you waiting for your supply before Sunday? Are you waiting with long faces, counting days and hours with dread? Or are you waiting with joy, thanking God in advance, blessing the unseen as though it were already visible? If you are waiting in gloom, you will reap delay. If you are waiting in joy, you will reap swiftly. Joy is the sign that faith has taken root. Joy is the fragrance that proves the flower of supply is already blooming. Joy is the sound of chains breaking and doors opening. Beloved, begin now to expect joyfully. Say aloud with me, "I rejoice, for my supply is certain. I clap my hands, I sing my song, I bless my money as though it were already overflowing. I expect before Sunday a miracle, and I expect it with joy." Walk through your house singing, bless your purse with laughter, speak to your bills with cheer, thank God for the avalanche of abundance. Do this not once, but continually, until joy becomes the very air you breathe. For joyful expectancy is irresistible to the law, and the law must fulfill the song you sing. What I am about to tell you may shatter the chains of fear that bind so many of you. You worry about time, you tremble as the hours pass, you stare at the calendar and say, "There is not enough left, it is too late, my chance has passed." But listen with your whole being. In divine law there is no lateness, there is no delay, there is no missing of the hour. Spirit is never too late, spirit is never too early, spirit is always on time. Your human clock may panic, but God's clock is perfect. The moment you stop trembling at appearances, the moment you refuse to bow to the hands of the clock, the moment you declare with certainty, "God is never too late," then the supply you need rushes in at the exact appointed second, and you will see that all your fear was wasted breath. I recall a man who came to me in despair, needing $50,000 within a set time for his business. He had exhausted every visible channel. The bank had refused him, investors had turned him down. Friends could not or would not help. The deadline loomed, and he said to me, "It is too late. Tomorrow is Saturday, the bank closes at noon, my train will not arrive until 10, and the time limit expires before I can even make the case." But I told him calmly, God does not need time, and God is never too late. With him, all things are possible. He scoffed, but I held to the vision for him. I spoke the word. You are identified in love with all connected to the bank. The divine idea comes out of this situation. With God, all things are possible. He went, still doubting, but when he arrived at the bank with only minutes to spare, They granted him the loan with ease, and he walked away with the very $50,000 he had despaired of. Think of it, the clock read only 15 minutes before the deadline expired, yet divine supply proved itself on time. Not too soon, not too late, but perfectly in the last hour. This is the way the law works. You may think the door has closed, you may think the curtain has fallen, you may think the chance has slipped away, but if your word has gone forth and your faith has not faltered, the demonstration will appear right on schedule, often in the very moment when your human reason says it is impossible. That is why I say, never bow to appearances, never worship the clock, never tremble at deadlines. Time is not your master, God is your master, and God is never too late. I tell you this also, sometimes the lateness is only in your own mind. You expect the money to appear today, but the perfect channel is being prepared for tomorrow. You expect the gift at one door, but God is arranging it through another. You think it must come by Friday, but Sunday is the appointed hour. Do not bind the supply with your schedule. Speak the word, act your faith, expect with joy, but leave the timing to infinite intelligence. For what appears as delay is often divine perfection, arranging a greater gift, a smoother channel, a richer harvest. Trust the clock of spirit, and you will never miss your good. Now I ask you, how many of you have said, it is too late? How many of you have whispered, the week is almost over, the month has ended, the deadline has passed, the time is gone? And how many of you, because of that whisper, let go of your faith, surrendered your decree, and watched your harvest vanish? You lost not because God failed, not because the law faltered, but because you bowed to appearances. Beloved, if you want money before Sunday, you must never confess it is too late. Even if it is the 11th hour, even if it is the last 15 minutes, even if it seems the door is shutting, say aloud, God is never too late, my supply is at hand. It appears now, swiftly, perfectly, under grace. Say it until every nerve in your body knows it. Say it until the clock loses its power over you. Say it until you feel the calm assurance of one who knows time is but a shadow and spirit rules the hour. So let us declare together. I do not fear the clock, for God is my timekeeper. The money I have commanded flows in perfect timing. It cannot be late, it cannot be withheld, it cannot be lost. Before Sunday, I see my supply. Spirit is never too late, and my word is law. Hold this truth, and you will see miracles arrive not early, not late, but exactly when needed, for divine timing is flawless and cannot fail. Now, let me show you another great secret of the law. For many of you wonder, if God is never late, then how do I know the moment? How do I know the channel? How do I know where to turn when my eyes see no way? The answer is this: intuition is the divine clock. It is the whisper of spirit within you, the gentle nudge that says, this is the way, walk ye in it. It comes as a hunch, as a sudden flash, as an inner certainty that directs your steps without explanation. When you obey the hunch, you are obeying the timing of God. When you ignore it, you wander in the wilderness of reasoning, and reasoning will always lead you astray. I have seen over and over that money, supply, and opportunity arrive in the most perfect ways when a student follows the hunch. I recall a woman who came to me with only $8 left. To her eyes, lack was screaming. She was tempted to hoard, to shrink back, to give up, but she held to the truth that God is supply, that money is but a shadow of spirit, and she prayed for guidance. Soon, a hunch came, a sudden feeling to go in a certain direction, to make a particular move that seemed small, even foolish to her reasoning mind. Yet she obeyed. That obedience opened a channel that led to gifts, to new income, to thousands of dollars flowing her way. Had she ignored the hunch, she would have missed the timing. But because she followed, she entered the current of supply that was waiting for her all along. Beloved, this is how the law works. Intuition is not a vague feeling. It is the divine signal that the hour has struck. It is the clock of heaven chiming within you, telling you the exact moment to act. You must not argue with it. You must not delay. You must not say, it makes no sense. The reasoning mind is Pharaoh, always saying, it cannot be done. It is impossible. There is no way. But intuition is Moses, saying, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. If you follow Pharaoh, you remain in bondage. If you follow Moses, you walk out of Egypt and the Red Sea parts before you. Now many of you ask, how do I hear intuition? How do I know the difference between a hunch and a fear? The answer is simple. Intuition comes with peace, with quiet certainty, with a sense of rightness, even if it challenges your comfort. Fear comes with agitation, with dread, with confusion. One voice lifts you, the other depresses you. When you learn to trust the lifting voice, you will see miracles arrive in perfect timing. And remember, the hunch may lead you to the smallest step. A phone call, a walk down a street, a word spoken to a stranger, but that step opens the floodgates of supply. Spirit rarely thunders, it whispers. But the whisper is the hand on the divine clock. So I ask you now, have you ignored your hunches? How many times has something within nudged you to act, but you delayed, you doubted, you said, it cannot matter? And later you saw that you missed the very opportunity you were asking for? Or perhaps you obeyed a hunch and found yourself at the right place, the right time, receiving the gift you had prayed for? That is no accident. That is the divine clock at work. If you want money before Sunday, you must tune your ear to this clock. Do not look only at the outer calendar. Do not count the hours with dread. Instead, listen within. Watch for the gentle pull, the inner direction, the unexpected thought that glows with life. Act on it, and you will step into the precise timing of your supply. So let us affirm together. I am divinely sensitive to my intuitive leads. I give instant obedience to the voice of spirit. I do not argue, I do not delay, I do not fear. I hear the whisper of God within me, and I act. And by acting, I step into perfect timing. Before Sunday, I follow my hunches, and they lead me straight to my supply. Say it with power, for it is not a hope, it is a law. Intuition is the clock of heaven, and when you obey it, you are never late, you are never lost, you are always on time. Now here is something that may seem strange at first, but when you grasp it, you will see why I chose the very words of this message, that money flows before Sunday. Many people drift because their faith is vague. They say, someday I will have money, someday I will be successful, someday things will change. But someday is not a date. Someday is an endless mist where nothing ever takes form. The law does not answer to vagueness, it answers to definiteness. When you set a point, when you mark an hour, when you say with certainty, before Sunday I shall see supply, you create a magnetic field that pulls the demonstration into visibility. You call the invisible into the visible by anchoring it in time. It is not that God needs the day marked, but that your subconscious does. It requires a frame, a groove, a picture, and when you set that frame by declaring a definite moment, the law rushes to fill it. I have seen this countless times. A woman once came to me with a need, and I told her, we will set a definite date. We fixed it, we spoke it, and she held to it in faith. When the day came, the supply was there. Another time, a student set a vague intention and drifted for months with no result. Only when she fixed the decree, by the 15th of the month this matter is settled, did the law begin to move. On the very morning of the 15th, the answer appeared. Was it coincidence? No, beloved, it was the power of definiteness. This is why the Sunday proof is so powerful. When you declare, before Sunday I will see money flow, you anchor your faith to a definite point. You have given the law a shape to fill, a container to pour into, a door to open at a precise hour. The law delights in definiteness because it shows you are certain. To drift in vagueness is to confess doubt. To fix a point is to confess faith. That is why I tell you, do not say someday, say by Sunday. Do not say maybe soon, say now, and before this week ends. And remember, even if the hour seems late, even if the deadline seems impossible, do not waver. You have set the decree, and the law cannot fail. Appearances may scream, the purse may still feel empty, the bills may still glare at you, but you must stand on the words spoken. Before Sunday, money flows. The stronger the contrast, the greater the miracle when the word proves itself. The Red Sea did not part until the waters were at the feet of Israel. The supply does not always appear until the last hour, but it always appears in time. So let me ask you, what have you fixed? Have you spoken with vagueness, one day, somehow, perhaps? Or have you declared with definiteness, before Sunday, my money comes? If your words are vague, your harvest will be vague. If your words are sharp, your harvest will be sharp. Fix your faith, fix your decree, fix your timing. Then watch as heaven and earth rearrange themselves to meet the command. Say aloud with me now. I set the time, and the law fulfills it. Before Sunday, my supply appears. Before Sunday, my purse is filled. Before Sunday, I hold in my hand the evidence of my decree. I do not drift, I do not delay, I do not doubt. I anchor my faith in time, and the time is now. Speak it with power, speak it with certainty, and hold to it as the days draw near. For the law is faithful, and the Sunday proof will come. Now I must tell you another secret, for some of you will say, "But Florence, I have set my decree, I have spoken with power, I have fixed the time, and yet the hour has come and gone, and my good did not appear. What then? Did the law fail? Did God forget?" Beloved, the law never fails, God never forgets, and Spirit is never late. What you call a delay is often only divine perfection, preparing something greater than your small reasoning mind could ever have imagined. Your decree is always answered, but sometimes the answer comes in a different wrapping, sometimes through another channel, sometimes on a higher level than the one you demanded. And if you resist, if you kick against it, if you cry, "Why is it not this way? Why is it not this person? Why is it not this door?" you shut yourself out of the very good that is already on its way. That is why I tell you, practice non-resistance. Say always, "This or something better. God's way, not my way. The perfect channel, not the one I force." Then, even if the form shifts, you remain open to the greater blessing. I once knew a woman who longed for a certain man. She fixed her faith upon him. She declared he was her perfect mate. She held fast, but he did not return. She thought the law had failed. She thought her word had been wasted. But I told her, "Release him. Do not resist. Say, 'This or something better.' Let divine selection choose for you." She obeyed, though her heart struggled. And not long after, another man entered her life, one far more suited, loving, faithful, and true. In time, she saw that the first man would have brought sorrow, but the second brought joy. What she thought was a delay was in truth a divine protection, preparing the perfect channel. Had she clung and resisted, she would have missed her true good. This is the lesson. If the money, the gift, the opportunity does not appear in the exact way you demanded, do not despair, do not rail against heaven. Say instead, "Something better is on its way. God is arranging a greater channel. I rest in divine order." When you relax into this truth, you free the law to work swiftly. But when you resist, you bind the flow. Resistance is like a hand gripping the rope, tightening it, cutting off the current. Release is like opening your hand, letting the water rush. That is why Jesus said, "Resist not evil. Do not fight the appearance. Do not struggle against the seeming delay. Speak the word, hold the faith, but let go of force. Let God arrange the channel." Now perhaps you fear that letting go means losing what you desire. Not so. Letting go does not mean indifference. It means trust. It means you know the supply is certain, even if the form surprises you. It means you no longer choke the seed by digging it up to check if it grows. You plant, you water, you bless, and you rest. That resting is non-resistance, and in that rest, the miracle blooms. So let me ask you, are you resisting? Are you still fretting? Still demanding it must come from this person, through this channel, on this day, in this form? Or are you open, free, at peace, saying, "I know my good comes, I bless every channel, I welcome the unexpected, I trust divine order"? One path brings strain, the other brings swift demonstration. Say with me now, "I resist nothing, I cling to nothing, I fear no delay. Every seeming setback is a setup for greater good. I rest in divine order, I welcome the perfect channel, I know my supply comes easily, freely, joyfully. I let go, and God's way is revealed." Speak this not once but often, until your very heart rests. For when you stop clutching, the hand of Spirit places the gift into your palm, and then you will see what you once called delay was only perfection in disguise. Now that you see how the law of timing moves, how faith commands and intuition directs, let us deal with the shadows that still haunt so many of you. For even when the decree is strong, even when the timing is perfect, many see their good delayed because of hidden blocks within themselves. And the first of these blocks is fear. Fear is the great enemy of supply. Fear is the robber of abundance, the thief of joy, the destroyer of faith. Fear is not harmless. Fear is not a passing mood. Fear is inverted faith. Faith turned upside down. Faith in evil instead of good. Faith in failure instead of success. Faith in sickness instead of health. Faith in lack instead of plenty. Fear is creative just as faith is creative. but it creates the very thing you dread. That is why Job declared, "The thing I greatly feared has come upon me." He was not struck at random. He drew his fear to him by the law. I knew a man once who lived in constant worry, always fearing this or that calamity. Every day he spoke of disaster. Every night he rehearsed it in his mind. He thought he was being cautious, but in truth he was planting the seeds of destruction. One day he read a sign that said, "Why worry? It will probably never happen." Those words pierced his heart. They struck him like a lightning flash of truth. He suddenly saw that his fears had no power of their own except the power he was lending them. He stopped worrying, he stopped rehearsing disaster, he stopped giving his faith to evil. From that moment, his life began to turn. The disasters ceased, the calamities evaporated, the fears melted away. He had disarmed his enemy by withdrawing his faith. So I ask you, what are you fearing today? Are you afraid that money will not come by Sunday? Then you are pouring inverted faith into lack. Are you afraid you will lose your job, your health, your friends? Then you are building a pattern for loss. Fear is the shadow that covers the harvest, the frost that kills the seed. If you want to see money flow, if you want to see abundance rise, you must cast fear out as ruthlessly as you would cast out a thief who had broken into your house. Do not coddle fear, do not pet it, do not feed it with words. Recognize it as your enemy and banish it with the sword of your decree. Now do not think that fear is stronger than faith. Fear has no power of its own. It is a parasite. It feeds only on your attention. Withdraw your attention and it withers. Replace it with faith and it vanishes. The way to destroy fear is not to wrestle with it, not to argue with it, not to try to reason it away, but to replace it with the positive word of truth. Say aloud, "There is nothing to fear, for there is no power to hurt. God is my supply, God is my defense, God is my unfailing source. Therefore, I walk in perfect safety, I live in perfect abundance, I move in perfect freedom." Say it until the vibration of fear is drowned in the vibration of faith. Say it until your nerves are calm, your breath is steady, your heart is light. Fear cannot live in the presence of a strong decree of faith. Beloved, you must also learn to laugh at fear. Laughter is a weapon of spirit, for it shows you no longer believe in the shadow. When the thought of lack comes, laugh at it. When the whisper of failure comes, laugh at it. Say, "You are a lie, and I do not believe you. My supply is certain, my good is on its way. Before Sunday, I will see proof, and nothing can stop it." Treat fear as you would treat a barking dog behind a fence. Ignore its noise. Walk calmly by, knowing it cannot touch you. The moment you stop feeding fear with attention, its teeth are pulled, its claws are blunted, its shadow dissolves. So let us declare together, "I am fearless, for God is my supply. I do not tremble at appearances, I do not bow to shadows. I cast out fear with perfect love, and love brings my supply before Sunday. Fear is nothing, faith is everything, and my faith is unshakable." Speak it with power, and as you do, feel the wall of fear crumble. Feel the river of supply begin to flow freely. For fear is the first enemy, and once it is cast out, your path is already half cleared. Now that we have cast out fear, let us deal with another enemy of supply, more subtle perhaps, but just as destructive: resentment. Resentment is a hidden poison in the heart, and it shuts the door of abundance as surely as a lock shuts the door of a house. Many people wonder why their good is delayed, why their prayers seem unanswered, why their decrees seem powerless, and all the while resentment is crouched within, choking the current, damming up the flow. Resentment is the belief that someone else has more than you, that someone else has taken what should be yours, that someone else is standing in your way. Resentment is envy, bitterness, and silent judgment. It whispers, "Why should they prosper while I struggle? Why should they succeed while I fail? Why should they receive while I am left empty-handed?" And the very moment you give harbor to such thoughts, you slam the door of your own prosperity, because you cannot bless what you resent, and only what you bless returns to you multiplied. I once knew a woman who envied her friend because that friend had received a beautiful gift. She thought, "Why should she have it and not I?" Her heart boiled with quiet jealousy, though she tried to hide it. I gave her this statement to speak: "What God has done for others, He now does for me, and more." At first she resisted, but at last she spoke it in faith. Within a short time, she not only received an exact duplicate of the gift, but also something even greater besides. Do you see? When she stopped resenting and began blessing, the channel opened, and her good flowed in. But while she resented, her hands were tied, and the door was locked. Resentment always works this way. If you envy another's success, you push your own success farther away. If you resent another's wealth, you drive your own wealth from your door. If you curse another's joy, you darken your own heart against joy. But when you bless another's good, when you say, "What God has done for them, He now does for me and more," you join the vibration of blessing, and blessing flows back to you multiplied. Beloved, I must tell you plainly, you cannot prosper while holding bitterness. You cannot manifest money before Sunday if you are secretly cursing those who have it already. You cannot open the floodgates of abundance while your heart is clogged with envy. Resentment is like rust in the pipes. It blocks the flow. But forgiveness is the cleansing water that clears the channel. Forgiveness does not mean excusing wrong. It means releasing yourself from the prison of bitterness. It means saying, "No one has power over my supply. God is my source, and what is mine by divine right cannot be withheld." So I ask you now, whom are you resenting? Who do you secretly blame for your lack, your delay, your disappointment? Is it a parent, a friend, a partner, a stranger? Is it society, government, or circumstance? Whoever it may be, let it go. Release them in your heart, bless them, and be free. For the moment you forgive, the chains fall away, the channels open, the good rushes in. Say it with me now. I give thanks for the good that others receive. I bless every success, every gift, every fortune, for what God has done for them, He now does for me and more. I harbor no resentment, no envy, no bitterness. My heart is clear, my channel is open, my supply flows freely. Speak it until you feel the resentment drain away. Speak it until you can see another prosper and rejoice instead of grieve. Speak it until you are glad for every blessing around you, for then you will be vibrating on the same current, and that current will carry blessings straight into your own life. Beloved, never forget, resentment shuts the door, but forgiveness swings it wide. Envy binds, but blessing frees. Bitterness drains, but joy multiplies. Cast out resentment, and you will see how swiftly money flows to you, how quickly the supply appears, how surely Sunday becomes the day of proof. For when the heart is clear, the law has no obstruction, and abundance rushes in like a mighty tide. Now that we have seen how resentment slams the door of supply and blessing opens it, let us press deeper into the law of forgiveness. For forgiveness is not merely a moral virtue, not merely a kind gesture to soothe the conscience. Forgiveness is a spiritual necessity, a law of release, a power that clears the clogged channels of the subconscious and allows the river of supply to flow again. Without forgiveness, even the strongest affirmations are hindered, even the boldest decrees are delayed, for the heart cannot hold bitterness and abundance at the same time. A divided heart cannot prosper. You cannot cry out for riches while secretly nursing grudges. You cannot demand health while clinging to old injuries. You cannot claim joy while feeding the memory of wrongs. Forgiveness is the great broom that sweeps the subconscious clean, and until you sweep, the dust of old hatred and the cobwebs of bitterness choke the current of good. I knew a woman whose life was a tangle of misery, sickness, and financial strain. She suffered a skin disease that no doctor could cure, and her affairs were as inflamed as her body. When I spoke with her, it became clear that she was bound by deep resentment against a former friend. Day after day, she rehearsed the injury, she recited the wrong, she relived the pain, and as she repeated the story in her mind and on her lips, her subconscious kept the record, and her body and her purse reflected it in endless affliction. I told her plainly, "You must forgive. Release her entirely, bless her, and let her go. Say, 'I bless you and I set you free.' Divine love fills my heart and dissolves all resentment." At first she resisted. Her pride clung to the grievance. She said, "But she wronged me. She does not deserve my blessing." I answered, "It is not for her sake alone, it is for yours. Forgiveness is freedom. If you do not forgive, you are bound with her in chains. But if you forgive, you are free, and your good can flow." At last, she obeyed. She spoke the words of forgiveness, though her heart trembled. She repeated them daily, until one morning she awoke and the bitterness was gone. Her heart felt light, her mind clear. The disease that had tormented her began to vanish. her skin healed, her strength returned. And as her body healed, her finances shifted too. New doors opened, opportunities appeared, supply began to flow. What medicine could not do, forgiveness accomplished. For forgiveness released the blocked current, and when the current flowed, health and wealth returned together. This is the law. Every grudge is a debt in your own account. Every unforgiven injury is like a bill you are still carrying, weighing down your purse, cluttering your mind. When you forgive, you cancel the debt, you wipe the slate clean, you remove the shadow from the channel, and in the place of bitterness flows blessing. Jesus said, "Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven." That means as you release others, your own debts are released, and the energy bound in bitterness is freed to return as supply. So I ask you now, whom must you forgive today? Who lingers in the back of your mind as a shadow? Who stirs your heart with anger when their name is spoken? Is it an old partner? A parent? A friend? An enemy? Whoever it is, bless them now. Do not wait for them to change. Do not demand their apology. Do not cling to the old story. Say, "I bless you, I release you, I forgive you, and I set you free. God is the judge and the law, and I am free to prosper." Repeat it until the resentment dissolves. Repeat it until the bitterness drains away. Repeat it until your heart feels light and your soul sings with peace. For when forgiveness is complete, the river flows again, and money, health, love, and joy rush into your life like water breaking through a dam. Let us speak it together. I fully and freely forgive everyone who has ever wronged me, consciously or unconsciously. I release them, I bless them, I set them free. As I do this, I free myself, and divine abundance flows to me now. Before Sunday, I see the proof of this release. For the law of forgiveness has cleared my channel and opened the floodgates of my supply. Speak it with faith, speak it with love, and feel the cleansing power wash through you. For forgiveness is not weakness, it is strength. Forgiveness is not loss, it is gain. Forgiveness is not surrender to evil, it is triumph in spirit. And when you forgive, you are not only healed, you are enriched. For forgiveness is the golden key that unlocks the storehouse of heaven. Now we come to another thief of supply, one that creeps softly and often goes unnoticed until it has undone the whole harvest: doubt. Doubt is the silent poverty of the mind. Doubt is the voice that whispers, "Perhaps it will not work this time. Perhaps you have asked too much. Perhaps God has forgotten. Perhaps the law is not certain." Doubt is subtle, for it often dresses itself in the garments of reason, it comes clothed as caution, it disguises itself as wisdom. But in truth, doubt is a parasite that feeds on faith until the decree is cancelled and the demonstration dissolves. You may speak 100 affirmations with your lips, but if doubt lodges in your heart, those affirmations are as seeds sown on stone, they sprout not, they bring forth nothing. One word of doubt can cancel a multitude of decrees. For the law is exact, and it responds not to the many words but to the strongest vibration. If the strongest vibration is doubt, then doubt will bear fruit. I have seen this many times. A student will come to me saying, "Florence, I have affirmed and affirmed. I have repeated the words. I have spoken the decrees, but nothing happens." And when I listen, I hear in their very tone the undertone of doubt. They say, "I believe," but they say, "I trust, if only." They say, "I affirm, yet still." That small tale of doubt undoes the whole decree. It is as if they plant a seed and then dig it up every day to see if it is growing. No seed can grow when it is continually disturbed. The subconscious is like the soil, it must be given a seed and left to do its work in quiet. But when you speak the word and then cancel it with doubt, the soil is disturbed, the seed dies, the harvest is lost. Doubt is poverty because it declares that God is not enough, that the law is not sure, that the universe may fail. It is the opposite of truth. For truth says, "My God shall supply all my need." Truth says, "The law of the Lord is perfect." Truth says, "Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away." The universe is more certain than the rising of the sun. The law is more sure than the turning of the earth. When you doubt, you are calling God a liar, and when you call him a liar, you shut yourself out of his riches. That is why James said, "He that wavereth is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. Let not that man think he shall receive anything of the Lord." A double-minded man, uncertain in his decree, receives nothing. But the one whose heart is fixed, whose decree is certain, sees the harvest without fail. So how do you overcome doubt? Not by fighting it, not by wrestling with it, for wrestling with doubt only strengthens its grip. You overcome doubt by replacing it with certainty, by repeating the decree until it settles into the very marrow of your bones. You speak the word not once, not twice, but until doubt falls silent and faith sings alone. You act as if, you prepare as if, you expect with joy, until your whole being vibrates certainty. You treat doubt as you would treat an intruder, you refuse it entry. When the whisper comes, perhaps it will not happen, you answer. Get thee behind me, for it is already done. When the shadow comes, maybe God has forgotten, you answer. God never forgets. And my supply flows now. When the reasoning mind says, this cannot be, you laugh and declare, with God all things are possible, and this is no exception. Beloved, you must learn to guard certainty as a treasure chest. You would not leave gold unguarded. Do not leave your faith exposed. Watch your words, for doubt often slips in through careless speech. Watch your thoughts, for doubt often whispers when the mind is idle. Watch your moods, for doubt often hides in gloom. When you sense it, cancel it at once with the truth. Say, there is no power in doubt. I live in certainty. What I have spoken is done. Before Sunday, I see my supply. Say it until certainty fills you like sunlight filling a room. So let us decree together. I banish doubt. I refuse to waver. I refuse to tremble. My decree is certain. My faith is fixed. My word is law. Money flows to me now, before Sunday, under grace, in perfect ways. Nothing can cancel my decree, for God Himself has confirmed it. Speak it with strength, for doubt cannot stand against certainty. And as you guard this certainty, you will see how swiftly the demonstration appears, how quickly the law fulfills the word. For doubt is poverty, but faith is riches. And when faith is unmixed, your purse cannot remain empty. Now we come to the grand work of demolition. For once fear has been cast out, resentment forgiven, and doubt banished, there still remain in many minds great walls, towering structures of unbelief, habit, and appearances. These are the walls of Jericho that seem to hem you in, the thick barricades that whisper, you cannot go further, you cannot break through, you cannot receive. They are built of years of old thoughts, of generations of false beliefs, of the race mind, that chants, money is hard, times are tough, lack is natural, poverty is holy. These walls may look unshakable, but I tell you, they are but shadows. They are nothing before the power of the spoken word. Just as the walls of Jericho fell flat when the trumpet sounded and the people shouted with a great shout, so every wall of lack, every wall of delay, every wall of impossibility in your life can fall in an instant when you lift your voice in decree. Understand this. You do not have to climb the walls. You do not have to chip away at them stone by stone. You do not have to exhaust yourself in struggle. You only have to speak the word, sound the trumpet, lift the shout, and the walls must collapse. For walls built of false belief have no true foundation. They are only sustained by your agreement with them. The moment you withdraw your agreement and replace it with decree, they lose their power and crumble. You may have lived with them so long that you think they are part of the landscape, but they are not. They are illusions, and illusions cannot stand when the light of truth is spoken. I remember a student who seemed bound by endless delays. Every plan was hindered, every step obstructed. She felt surrounded by invisible barriers. I gave her this decree. The walls of lack and delay now crumble away, and I enter my promised land under grace. She repeated it daily, not in a whisper of doubt, but in a voice of triumph. And within weeks, every obstruction vanished. The doors that had been bolted swung open. The channels that had been closed poured forth freely. What years of struggle had not accomplished, one decree of truth did. She had blown the trumpet, and the walls had fallen flat. This is what I want you to see. When you feel hemmed in, when you see no way, when appearances scream, impossible, that is not the signal to surrender, it is the call to shout. Lift your voice and say, the walls of lack and delay crumble away now. I enter my promised land under grace, in perfect ways. Say it again and again, until you feel the vibration of power moving through you, until you see in your mind's eye the walls shaking, trembling, collapsing, until you stand inwardly free. For the subconscious must obey the image, and when you give it the picture of walls falling, it will enact it in your affairs. So I ask you, what walls surround you now? Is it the wall of debt, the wall of fear, the wall of past failure, the wall of unbelief? Do not stare at them in despair. Do not measure their height, do not count their stones. Simply lift your trumpet, your word, and blow. Simply lift your voice and shout the decree of freedom. You will be amazed how swiftly the wall that seemed eternal dissolves into dust. Let us do it now. Say aloud with me, the walls of lack and delay crumble away now. I enter my promised land, flowing with milk and honey, under grace, in perfect ways. Every barrier falls, every obstruction vanishes, every chain breaks, and I walk in freedom and abundance. Feel the ground shake beneath you as you speak. See the walls fall flat. Walk boldly forward in your imagination into the land of supply, into the fields white with harvest, into the treasure houses already open. For this is not fantasy, it is law, and the law responds to your decree. Beloved, never forget, no wall is stronger than your word, no barrier is higher than your decree, no delay is longer than your faith. When you speak with authority, when you shout with certainty, when you declare with joy, the walls must fall, and you must enter your promised land. And if you will do this now, without hesitation, you will see before Sunday that what once seemed impossible has become your possession. Now that the walls have fallen, now that fear, resentment, and doubt have been cast out, you are standing at the threshold of a new life. The barriers are gone, but the door to abundance still waits to be opened. And this door, beloved, does not swing wide for drudgery, for boredom, for resentment of labor. It opens only to joy, only to interest, only to the fire of enthusiasm. For the secret door to success and supply is not hidden in some distant mountain or locked away in some secret vault. It is hidden in your own heart, and the key that turns it is the spark of interest in what you are doing. The universe answers to joy, for joy is the language of spirit. When you are bored, when you are indifferent, when you drag your feet through the day, you close the door of opportunity. But when you are alive, when you are absorbed, when you are thrilled by the work of your hands, you fling the door wide and abundance rushes in to meet you. I once met a man who proved this law in a most remarkable way. He was Jim Tully, once a tramp, a wanderer, a man who slept under hedges and lived from hand to mouth. By appearances, he had nothing. But he had one gift. He was interested in his life, even in its roughness. He dramatized it, he thought about it, he told stories of it with vividness and fire. His imagination was alive, his interest was burning. And that interest opened the door for him to become a writer, celebrated and successful, his books published, his life transformed. He did not wait until he had riches to become interested. He found interest in what he had, and that interest drew success. He turned the tramp's life into a golden key that unlocked the hidden door. This is the secret. The door opens to the one who is absorbed, fascinated, alive to the possibilities of the present moment. If you despise your work, if you drag through your duties, if you curse your tasks, you shut the door with your own hand. But if you make the most of what is before you, if you put your heart into the smallest thing, if you find joy even in the humble task, you send out a vibration that calls opportunity, that draws money, that attracts favor. For the Spirit says, "He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much." The door will not open to the grumbler, but it will swing wide to the one who finds delight in the smallest blessing. So I ask you now, where is your interest? Do you rise each morning with enthusiasm, ready to bless the day? Or do you rise with sighs, ready only to endure? Do you put your energy into the work before you, even if it seems small? Or do you scorn it, waiting for something greater before you give your best? Beloved, the law is exact. What you give your heart to expands. If you despise the little, you will never see the much. But if you honor the little with joy, the much must come. Interest is the key, and when you turn it, the hidden door to abundance opens. So let us decree together. I give thanks for the work of my hands. I put joy into it. I put interest into it. I put love into it. Every task becomes alive with spirit, and every door swings wide before me. I open the secret door to abundance now, and I walk through it with joy. Speak it not as a dry formula, but as a living song. Say it until you feel enthusiasm stir in your veins. Say it until the very things that once bored you begin to glow with meaning. For when joy returns, the door opens, and when the door opens, abundance pours through. Beloved, Never forget, the universe has no use for the dreary and disinterested, but it crowns with riches those who are alive, awake, and interested. Be alive now, and the hidden door will open for you before Sunday. Now I must show you something so simple that many overlook it, so common that many despise it, and yet so powerful that it has opened the very gates of abundance for those who practice it, the smile. Yes, beloved, even a smile can be the golden key that turns in the secret door, for a smile is not just a curve of the lips, it is the outward radiance of inward joy, it is the announcement of faith, it is the silent decree that says, I expect good, I welcome good, I am already living in the vibration of good. When you smile, you send out rays of light that touch others, that open hearts, that draw opportunities. The Chinese have a proverb, a man without a smiling face must not open a shop. They understood that abundance comes not to the sullen, but to the cheerful, not to the gloomy, but to the radiant, not to the one who scowls at life, but to the one who greets it with a shining countenance. I recall the lesson given in a French film where Maurice Chevalier played the leading role. In it, a man was poor, dreary, almost a derelict, and he moaned, "What good has my honesty done me?" Chevalier answered, "Even honesty will not help you without a smile." And the man changed on the spot. He smiled, and his life began to prosper. What opened the door? Not a new bank account, not a new profession, not a sudden inheritance, but a smile. The inner radiance that declared, I expect good. I am open to joy. I am ready for abundance. I tell you this because many of you have closed your doors by walking about with gloomy faces, by sighing, by spreading heaviness. You may speak affirmations with your lips, but if your countenance is clouded, if your eyes are dim, if your tone is heavy, you cancel the very decree you are trying to make. Your outer expression must match your inner word, for the world hears not only what you say, but what you radiate. If you radiate gloom, you draw gloom. If you radiate cheer, you draw cheer. If you radiate joy, you draw joy. So I ask you, how do you meet the world? Do you greet it with scowls, with sighs, with complaint? Or do you greet it with a smile, with a sparkle, with expectancy? The smile is your silent word, your unspoken decree, your living affirmation. It tells the universe, I am already supplied, I am already joyful, I am already victorious. And the law answers by sending you more of what you declare. Beloved, you must learn to practice the smile even before the outer supply has appeared. Do not wait for money to arrive to be cheerful, and the money will arrive. Do not wait for the miracle to shine, shine and the miracle will come. The smile is the seed, and the harvest is abundance. The smile is the magnet, and the treasure is drawn to it. Let us decree together with shining faces, I smile upon my world, and my world smiles upon me. I radiate joy, I radiate cheer, I radiate light, and abundance hastens to meet me. My smile opens doors, my cheer attracts riches, my radiance draws supply. Before Sunday, I shall see the proof, for I smile, and the universe smiles back with treasure. Say it, and as you say it, let your face break into a smile, even if forced at first, until the vibration of cheer fills you. For the law cannot resist the radiant soul. The universe itself opens to those who smile upon it. Now let me reveal to you another key that few ever consider, yet it is one of the strongest laws in the game of life. If the smile radiates outward power, silence gathers inward power. If the cheerful countenance draws friends and opportunities, the quiet tongue preserves energy and focus. The scriptures declare, there is a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Most people fail because they speak when they should be silent, scattering their forces, wasting their substance, pouring out their creative energy in idle chatter, complaints, or endless explanations. They discuss their affairs with every ear that will listen. They confess their fears to anyone who asks. They detail their struggles as if rehearsing them could bring relief. But the truth is, every word spoken of doubt or delay strengthens the wall you are trying to tear down. Every detail shared of your troubles gives them new life. Every time you explain your problems to another, you impress your subconscious again with the picture of bondage. That is why I say, silence is golden, for silence is strength, silence is power, silence is protection. I remember a man of great ability, full of brains and talent, who could never seem to succeed. No matter what work he attempted, it came to nothing. One day I discovered his secret. Every evening, when he came home from the office, he would sit with his mother and aunt and pour out the story of his day, his hopes, his fears, his disappointments, his frustrations. They listened eagerly, but in his very telling he was scattering his energy, leaking his force, draining his magnetism. I told him plainly, "Stop talking about your affairs, hold your tongue. Keep your energy within, do not scatter your forces in endless words." He obeyed, though his mother and aunt were dismayed at the sudden quiet. But within a short time, his fortune changed. He was offered a position at $100 a week, and soon it rose to $300. What years of labor had not accomplished, a simple vow of silence did. He stopped scattering his forces, and the law rewarded him with strength and success. So I ask you, how much of your energy have you thrown away in words this week? How often have you spoken of your lack, your struggles, your delays, your fears? How many times have you opened your mouth only to reinforce the very thing you wish to destroy? Beloved, you must learn to keep silence until your decree is fulfilled. Do not chatter about your demonstration. Do not explain your process to those who cannot understand. Do not scatter your energy in idle words. Speak the decree with authority, then hold your tongue. Let the subconscious work in quiet. Let the law do its perfect work without interference. Silence is the womb of creation. The seed grows best when hidden beneath the soil. So it is with your word. Plant it, then be still. Now, this does not mean never to speak at all, for the tongue is also the trumpet of victory. It means to speak only truth, only life, only decree. It means to refuse to voice fear, to refuse to discuss defeat, to refuse to rehearse troubles. It means to learn the discipline of speech, to know when to speak and when to be silent. This discipline will multiply your power, for the one who speaks only with purpose commands attention, while the one who chatters endlessly is ignored. So let us decree together, I speak only words of power. I refuse to scatter my forces in idle chatter. My word goes forth in strength, and then I keep silence while the law fulfills it. I am strong, I am steady, I am certain, and my supply flows without obstruction. Speak it with resolve, and then practice it. Hold your tongue when the urge to complain arises. Guard your mouth when the temptation to explain appears. Replace idle chatter with the golden silence of faith. For silence is golden, and the one who learns it opens the secret door where abundance waits in stillness. Now I bring you to the climax of this section, the place where all we have spoken gathers into one shining truth. The right word, spoken in faith, is the master key that opens doors no hand can unlock, dissolves rocks no hammer can break, and parts barriers that have stood like mountains before you. From the beginning of time, stories and legends have carried this truth, for men and women of old, though clothed in fable, knew the eternal law of the spoken word. Think of the tale of Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves, where the treasure was hidden behind a rock, impenetrable, immovable, sealed to all who approached. No strength of muscle could move it, no tool could break it. Yet when Ali Baba cried out the word, "Open sesame," the rocks rolled back, the door swung wide, and the hidden riches lay revealed. Was that story mere fancy? No, beloved, it was the picture of divine law. The spoken word is the password to treasure. It is not force that opens the way. It is not struggle that reveals the gold. It is not strain that brings supply. It is the decree, the command, the word spoken in faith. So it is with you. There are rocks of lack that seem immovable. There are doors of delay that seem locked tight. There are walls of impossibility that seem to tower forever. And yet, none of these can withstand the word. The right word, spoken with authority, is your open sesame. When you decree, the walls of lack and delay crumble away, and I enter my promised land under grace. You are sounding the trumpet, and the rocks must part. When you say, large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways, you are giving the password, and the vault of supply must open. When you declare, I am an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to me by divine right, you are speaking the code, and the treasures of heaven hasten to you. Understand this. Appearances are only locked doors. They are not reality, they are not truth, they are not eternal. They are illusions, waiting for the word that will dissolve them. Every time you speak with fear, you reinforce the lock. Every time you declare lack, you make the rock heavier. But the moment you lift your voice in decree, the lock falls, the rock parts, the door swings wide. The subconscious does not know maybe, it only knows the command. Give it the command, and it obeys. So I ask you, what door do you need to open before Sunday? What rock stands in your path? What treasure seems hidden behind barriers? Do not stare at the rock in despair. Do not hammer at the door with effort. Speak the word. Use your password. Cry aloud your open sesame until you feel the vibration of obedience in the very air around you. The law cannot resist it. Let us decree together with power. The walls of lack and delay now crumble away, and I enter my promised land under grace. Open sesame. I speak the word, and the treasure appears. I command, and the door swings wide. I decree, and abundance rushes in. Before Sunday, I hold in my hand the proof. For my word is law, and my decree cannot fail. Speak it until you feel the rocks moving in your imagination, until you see the doors swing in your inner vision, until you know with certainty that the treasures are already yours. For once the word has gone forth, it cannot return void. It must accomplish what it is sent to do. Beloved, never forget, the universe is not locked against you, the treasure is not hidden from you, the doors are not barred to you, they only await the sound of your decree. The spoken word is the password, and when you speak it, nothing can withstand it. So go forth with your open sesame on your lips, and watch how swiftly the riches long prepared for you pour into your life before this very week is done. Now, beloved, we come to the close of this message, and yet it is not a close at all, but a beginning. For if you have listened with an open heart, if you have spoken the decrees with your lips, if you have let the truth sink into your bones, then tonight you are no longer the same person who pressed play at the beginning. You began with questions, with fears, with doubts, with the heaviness of bills, deadlines, and delays. You began perhaps feeling hemmed in by the walls of lack, perhaps bowed beneath the weight of appearances, perhaps haunted by the shadows of fear, resentment, and doubt. But now you know that none of these shadows have power. Now you know the law. Your word is your wand, your decree is your scepter, your faith is your shield, your joy is your magnet, your silence is your fortress, your forgiveness is your broom, and your certainty is your key. You know that the universe does not answer to begging but to command, not to fear but to faith, not to gloom but to joy, not to bitterness but to blessing. You know that God is never too late, that intuition is the divine clock, that definiteness draws demonstration, and that even what seems like delay is only perfection preparing itself. And so I tell you, you are no longer a beggar at the gate, you are a king at the door. You are no longer one who pleads for scraps, you are one who commands the feast. You are no longer one who wanders in circles, you are one who speaks the word and walks straight into the promised land. And because you now know this, you must act upon it. Do not let these words drift away like smoke. Seize them, live them, speak them, prove them. For truth without practice is no truth at all. But truth spoken, truth lived, truth acted, that truth makes you free. So let us seal this teaching with a decree that you can carry with you every morning, every evening, every moment that fear or lack tries to whisper again. Speak it with me now. Large sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. I am an irresistible magnet for all that belongs to me by divine right. The walls of lack and delay crumble away, and I walk now in my promised land. My purse is never empty. My supply is endless. Before Sunday, I see the proof with my own eyes. I hold it in my own hands. I rejoice in it with my own heart. Let these words be your song, your shield, your hammer, your trumpet. Repeat them until they engrave themselves upon your subconscious. Repeat them until you no longer wonder, no longer doubt, no longer fear, but only expect with joy. Repeat them until the world around you becomes the perfect reflection of the word you have spoken. And when you see your proof, when the check arrives, when the gift is given, when the bill is paid, when the purse is filled, when the miracle stands before you, do not stop there. Give thanks, rejoice, bless it, and then lift your vision higher. For the law is endless, the supply is infinite, the good prepared for you has no measure. This Sunday may bring one miracle, but the Sundays ahead will bring greater and greater demonstrations if you continue to walk in the law, to speak with authority, to act with faith, to forgive with freedom, to smile with joy, and to guard your silence with wisdom. And now, beloved, before we part, I leave you with one more invitation. For tonight, you have learned how to command the universe that money flows before Sunday. But there is yet another mystery, another forgotten teaching, another law that few ever hear. It is the law of calling money by its name. For money, like a servant, responds when it is called aright. And in my next message, I will reveal to you the one word, the secret code, the hidden call that makes money answer as surely as a child answers to its mother's voice. Do not miss it. For if tonight you have learned to command, tomorrow you shall learn to summon, and when you know both, your riches will never fail. So click, beloved, and continue with me. For your harvest has only begun, and the law of calling money by its name is waiting to be placed in your hands.